Hi everybody, and welcome to the second day of I Love My STEM Career. So it's a two-day event taking over the mornings of the 21st and the 22nd of February. So yesterday we kicked off in the Nerve Centre in Derry, and today we're in Belfast in the Ormeau Baths. So we are highlighting very exciting career paths for young people and teenagers that are all STEM focused. So I'm really excited to be back today because yesterday was a blast. So we've got an event stream, a live stream that people are tuning into. So hi everybody who is watching at home and at school. My name is Emer Maguire and I am your host for today. I'm a science communicator and a radio presenter and a musical comedian. So I'm really looking forward to it because I'm a big science and tech fan myself. So big thank you to the Nerve Centre in Derry yesterday. Big Nerve Centre fan there who let us take over their space to put on a really, really cool event. And a big thank you today to the Ormeau Baths. Can we get a round of applause for the Baths? That's where we are today. Super, super cool. Also, Starticus, Northern Ireland Science Festival in collaboration with Pulsar, the NI Online Hub for Women in STEM, and also Matrix, the Northern Ireland Science Industry Panel, for putting this important event together. So we've got tons and tons of speakers, and we want to kick off with the first STEM professional. So we've got Ailis McCaul, who is a principal product owner at Liberty IT. So Ailis, I've been really looking forward to talking to you and learning a wee bit more about what you do. So could you start off, first of all, by telling us a wee bit about your career path? Kind of people watching are school age, kind of sixth form, from that kind of sixth form age up until where you are now.
Oh, from sixth form? Okay, so...
It's quite a while, I know.
But I know, I'm trying to remember back. So I did like a real different mix of A levels because I really did like love English and I did classical history, religion and ethics and maths. So maths was really the only STEM subject that I did, but it's what I decided to take into university. Like I just loved kind of seeing different, like I always saw it as like being able to solve the little puzzles. And I was like, this is so much fun. Imagine getting to do this as a career. So I then went on and did, it was like a 4-year master's in math, statistics and operational research it was called. So I really enjoyed that. You know, you got to do some coding within that as well. And I got to continue to do my sort of little puzzles. And I had it in my head, I had a one-track mind. I was like, I'm going to be a data scientist. So I did what most graduates do whenever they go, I want to be a data scientist, and just took the first job that I was given as a graduate, which was as a test engineer in blockchain products. So really, yes, you're writing code and doing automated tests, but what I loved about that was actually being able to empathize with the user and kind of step into their shoes and sort of go, is this user friendly? Is this really solving sort of the end user needs? And then on the side of that, I got to do loads of workshops where I was sort of teaching sort of large organizations, you know, how can you have a startup approach in what you do? I got to look at, you know, design thinking, and it really lends itself into product, which is sort of where I am now. And then while I was working in product, I had a sort of side hustle where I had my own startup. And then whenever it got really busy, I moved into that. And then whenever I started to have children, I was like, okay, I actually want to move more into something that I can do part-time. And I moved back into product management again, which I absolutely love. But I'm sure we'll chat more about that.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. And I think one of the really interesting things that we found out yesterday was loads of people think if you want to do science or tech, engineering, maths at uni, you have to have all your A levels, kind of chemistry, physics, maths, but you had a big mix, you know, like really interesting ones, but more so humanities. And we saw that yesterday too. We had someone who did, you know, they did one science, but they also did like Spanish and music and all these other things. So I think those kind of soft skills which you get in those subjects can only help. And you're a product owner at the minute. So I think if I was at school and I heard product owner, I wouldn't have any idea what that meant. So what exactly is your role, and is that a tech role?
Oh yeah, well, like I would see it as a tech role. I love the way you're like, I don't know what this is, because like my dad tells people I'm an accountant because it's just easier. But yeah, it's a real mix of, you know, doing discovery to kind of work out, right, what are the people that are using, I work in software, people that are using this software, like what are their needs, and running experiments to work that out as well. But also making sure that lines up with the business needs, and then working with development teams of designers and engineers to make sure that that then becomes a reality. So, you know, making sure that you're prioritizing what's the most important thing, you know, actually getting to go out and talk to people and do user interviews, which I absolutely love, you know, and no day is the same. You know, you could be working with marketing to go, you know, is our go-to-market strategy working, or customer success to say, or sales, you know, why did a customer not sign up and what can we go about changing there? So I love the variety of it, but at the same time, you are working with engineering, so you are the middle person between people that are highly technical and people that need to understand the technical side of that might not be as technical. So you need really strong communication skills, but you need to be able to communicate and understand what's feasible, what's not, why something's important from a technical standpoint as well. So that background in analytical thinking is really important, but also all those soft skills that you were talking about as well.
Yeah, and I know obviously the analytical side of things, you obviously have a very kind of logical, analytical mind. You did maths, you know, and I probably see maths the same way as you know, as problem solving and kind of puzzles and things like that. And I'm just wondering, I feel like people might think, oh, if I do a degree in maths, you know, it's going to be pure maths, or I'm going to be, you know, it's quite abstract and things like that. But like, you're working in the tech industry, so are there quite a few opportunities for math graduates to move into tech?
Oh, 100%. So whenever I moved in as a graduate, the one requirement was that I had a bachelor's in science. So it didn't matter what the subject was in, as long as it was a bachelor's of science. And I know people are moving out of that now, and actually the job I'm in now is taking apprenticeships and things like that as well. So the experience really matters. But having that mathematical background is really important, because I always saw mathematics as seeing patterns and to be able to predict behavior, which is exactly what I'm doing in product. I'm kind of going, okay, I think I'm going to take this move forward based on what people have done before, what's done well in business. And you're also having to make data-driven decisions, which is so important. So it's not just, I think this is a good idea. You're not your user. So not only do you have to empathize with the user, but you have to use data and metrics in order to decide what you're going to do. So I definitely see the background in maths is really, really beneficial.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, you saying like it could be any kind of science degree, because you're saying about maths and predicting the outcome of a behaviour, but I mean, that's the same. That could be psychology, that could be physics. It's all kind of prediction based and outcome based. So it is fascinating to think about it from that point of view. So even if there are people watching and they're like, I kind of know I want to do science, but I don't know which one. Like, you're not tied. You know, if you do something, it opens up all the doors for you. So I'm kind of getting the sense that for you, obviously you're a great communicator, so that kind of communication side of things is really important. But what other personal qualities and traits do you feel have been really beneficial in your career?
So I think from a product perspective, it's kind of realizing you're not the boss, but you really need to be able to influence people, because I can't tell you what to do, but I need to get you on board with this vision, and I need to get everybody on board. And a lot of that is about building trust. And again, the communication is really important, but also being empathetic. Like, I understand why I want to get this done, but if I'm talking to an engineer, for instance, you know, they're more interested in maybe the technical debt, or, you know, how technically feasible something is, or like whenever I'm talking to marketing, you know, they want to get the word out about this, and it's being able to sort of speak people's language and talk to them about their own motivations, because ultimately you could be the smartest person in the room, but at the same time, you're part of a team. So, you know, you need to be able to make sure that you're taking on everybody's opinions, you're being diplomatic, and that you're being caring about what other people care about as well. And
like you're talking there obviously about getting people on board. Like, you really need to make people care, obviously. And if you don't have those skills, being empathetic and kind of being a people person, like, people tend to think sometimes people in science and tech are not people people, basically. But I found that's not the case. Like everyone yesterday talked about the human side and the team and the community, which is interesting. You're in a totally different space and you're kind of saying the same.
100%.
So in terms of, you know, today's called I Love My STEM Career. We're talking about how cool it is to work in STEM. You know, we're talking to people like yourself who are super passionate. What has been your ultimate favourite thing about your career so far?
Well, see, I love people. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm like an extreme extrovert. So like I get my energy from being around people, and it's just the sheer variety, because when you're working in product, you're in the center of everything. You know, you get to talk to marketing and customer success and business stakeholders and customers, and you get to meet like a whole range of different skills and different approaches to things, and sort of take them on board. And you get to travel as well if you want to. I mean, I'm working completely remotely now, but you know, I've got to go to America. And I got to, you know, like I've been able to travel to a load of different countries, and which I really enjoyed as well. But I just love the fact that no 2 days are the same. Yeah. You know, there's so much variety in it, and you get to be creative as well as analytical. I love that. Because I always thought, oh no, I'm totally analytical, and then I realised, no, I do have a creative side. And to be able to have those two in conjunction is brilliant. I think people don't realise how much creativity is actually involved in science and tech jobs, but it's totally creative. You know, whether you're, you know, I always think, because I'm a musician by background, and I think like if you're playing piano or you're solving a maths problem, like it's all the same, it's all patterns, it's all a version of creativity. So it's very good for the more creative members of the schools and stuff who are watching to hear that. Yeah, because I do think music, it is, like, because I play a lot of music myself, and it is really mathematical. It's so similar, it's very mathematical. So I just want to say a big thank you for talking to us today. It was so interesting. Can we get a round of applause for Ailis, please, everybody? Thank you very much.